So we're on lesson 3-6, which involves using multiplication and partial products to solve one digit by multi-digit multiplication. So let's look at our first one right here. It's our guided practice. So we should have already watched that video. And we have this question for us. Seth found 374 times 3. What partial product is missing from Seth's work? Well, notice there's three place values here, our ones, tens, and hundreds. So we should have three partial products, but I'm missing some. So I need to figure out what is that. Well, we have 3 times our ones place value is 10 or 12. So we have that there. We have 3 times 7, which is our tens place value. But notice I don't have anywhere a 210 or a 21 even for that 3 times 7. So I'm missing my tens place value. Just to check though, let's see, 3 times 3 is 9. And then we add those 2 zeros since we're in our hundreds place value. So yeah, it does look like we're missing that blue one. We're missing that hundreds place value. So now it says we need to explain, which is always our favorite part. So we're going to put Seth's work is missing 210. Seth multiplied the ones and tens. Oh, I'm sorry, not ones and tens, ones and hundreds. But did not do what? He didn't multiply the tens place value. All right, so that's it for our first one. So now let's head to our next one, which is just our practice. Find each product using an algorithm. So we're going to use our partial products algorithm. So for this, I'm going to have green, I guess I'm going to do blue first. Blues are my ones, greens are going to be my tens place value, and red is going to be the hundreds. So let's begin. Blue, my ones place value, 5 times 7 is 35. My greens place value, I'm starting in the tens, so I put the 5 in the tens place value, and then I add those zeros to fill it out. My last one is 5 times 1, that's my hundreds, so I start by writing the hundreds, and then I put those 2 zeros so that they stay in the hundreds place value. So now I add them up, 585. The answer is 585. So this one I'm going to again start. 3 times the 3, which is my ones place value, is 9. Now I go ones place value over, and I'm doing 4 times 3, which is 12. Remember, I'm always going to start in whatever place value I'm in. So this is my tens place value, so I'm going to start writing in the tens place value. And then I add that 0 because I need to slide over to that tens place value. It doesn't just magically happen. Now my next one is hundreds. 3 times 2 is, I'm in my hundreds place value, so I start on the hundreds, 6. And then I add those zeros to move it over to that hundreds place value. When I add them up, I get 729. Let's head now to our next one. Notice this one's a little different though. It says find each product using an algorithm. Draw pictures if needed. So this is if needed. I'm going to see if I need them for any of them. Same thing as before, my ones, tens, and hundreds. So you can keep track of if I have all of my partial products there. So ones, 5 times 3 is 15. Start in that ones place value. Hundred or tens next. So I'm starting in that tens place value. 5 times 2 is 10. And then I add that 0 to move it over to the hundreds place or the tens place value. Last one, I'm in my hundreds. 5 times 2 is 10. So I record in that hundreds first. And then I add those 2 zeros since I'm in that hundreds place value. What's my answer? 1,115. Okay, on to our next one. Again, start my ones place value. So my answer is 8 times 8 is 64. So I write that down. Next one, I go to my tens place value. So I'm going to write in my tens. 8 times 1 is 8. And then add that 0 to move it over to that tens place value. My last one, I'm starting in my hundreds, so I'm going to start by recording there. 8 times 4 is 32. And then I put those 2 zeros to move it over to that hundreds place value. When I add them up, regroup, I get 3,344. Okay, heading over to this one. My ones place value I start, so 3 times 3 is 9. Now I go over to my tens place value, so I'm going to start by writing in that tens place value. 3 times 9 is 27. Then I add that 0 to move it over to the tens place value. My last one, 3 times my hundreds, so I'm going to put in the hundreds. Now watch this. If I want to add those zeros first, I can. So I can put 1, 2 zeros, and now I know I'm in that hundreds place value. Now let's add them up, and I get 579. Okay, my last one, this is a 4-digiter. So I'm going to start by my ones place value, so that same process each time. 7 times 7 is 49. My next one, I'm going to put that 0 here first, so now I know I have to be in that tens place value. 7 times 1 is 7. My next one is the red. So I have 2 zeros, so that way I know I have to be in that hundreds place value to start with. 7 times 9 is 63. Now my last one is that fourth place value. So I need to put 1, 2, 3 zeros, so I start on that thousands. 7 times 2 is 14, and now I'm good to just add them up. 9, 11, regroup the 1, 4, 6 plus 4 is 10, regroup the 1, 2. So my answer is 20,419. Now, there is one thing I need to do. If I read all my directions, I would notice it said use an estimate to check to see if your answer is reasonable. So I did skip that part, so that's my fault. So I'm going to go back and check. So this is about 200 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10, and I add those 2 zeros on. Notice these ones are close, so that means that my answer is correct. My next one, 400 is close to 418 times 8, which is 32, and add those 2 zeros. Notice they're close together, so that means my answer is most likely correct. My next one, 193 is close to 200 times 3, so my answer should be 600, which is close, so my answer is probably correct. And then this last one, this is close to 3,000 times 7, which is 21, and add those 3 zeros on, and notice my answers are close. So my estimation shows that my answer is probably correct, and I can move on. So now this one, I don't like what they did, stacking them, or not stacking them, so I'm going to stack them, and now I'm good to get started. So same thing as before, my 48 for the ones place value. For the tens place value, I'm going to add that 0, and now I'm in my tens place value. 3 times 6 is 18. And then my last one is my hundreds place value. So I add those 2 zeros so I can start on the hundreds. And then it's 6 times 1 is 6. Add them up, and I get 828. This one doesn't tell me to use estimation, so I can go to my next one. Okay, my next one is times 7. I'm just stacking them like before. My ones place value is 42. 6 times 7 is 42. My tens place value, I add that 0. 7 times 2 is 14. And my last one, my hundreds place value. So I'm going to add 2 zeros, so I start in my hundreds. 7 times 2 is 14. Add them up, and I get 1,562. 7 times 200 is 1,400, which is close for that estimation I could do in my head. Same thing, my ones place value, 6 times 8 is 16. My tens place value, I add that 0, so I start in the tens place value now. 8 times 4 is 32. Oops. And another oops. There we go. And my last one is that 100, so I'm going to add 1, 2, and then 8 times 2 is 16. So now I can add them up. And I get 6,391, 1,936. Now let's head to our last one. Again, this is a 4-digiter, which is the same thing. I'm just going to be doing it 4 times instead of 3. So my ones place value, 5 times 0 is 0. My tens place value, I add a 0, so I start in the tens place value. 5 times 4 is 20. My next one, I add 1, 2 zeros, so I can start in the hundreds place value. 5 times 6 is 30. And my last one is my thousands place value. So I add 1, 2, 3 zeros, so I can start writing my thousands place value. 5 times 1 is 5. Add them up, and I get 8,200. Let's head to our hard word problems now. Good job on that other part, guys. So now we have this problem. The bar diagram, which is this thing right here, shows 4 groups of 225. Calculate 4 times 225 using an algorithm. If I wanted to check, I could do 225 plus 225 4 times, but I'm going to use multiplication since that's what they give me. So I'm going to zoom in, and it's going to be that same thing as before. 4 times 5 is 20 in my ones place value. My next one is in my tens, so I'm going to add a 0 so I can start writing my tens place value. 4 times 2 is 8. My next one, I'm in my hundreds place value, so I add those 2 zeros so I can start writing the hundreds. 4 times 2 is 8. And now I can add them up. And what do I get? Well, I get 900. So 4 times 225 is 900. Now let's head to number 13. There are usually 365 days in each year. Every 4th year is called a leap year and has 1 extra day in February. How many days are there in 8 years if 2 of the years are leap years? Well, let's start here. It's telling me we have 8 years and each year has 365 days. We'll worry about those leap years in a second. So we're going to do 365 times 8 because we have 8 equal groups. So what would that be? Well, I'm in my ones, so 8 times 5 is 40. Now I go to my tens place value, so I add a 0 here so I can start writing my tens. 8 times 6 is 48. And now my last one is my hundreds. So I'm in my hundreds place value. So 8 times 3 is 24. So what do I get? Well, I get 0, 12, regroup the 1, and that one got a little slanted, but it's a 9. 1 plus 4 is 9. And 2. So my answer is 2,920. But wait, remember it says there's these extra days called leap years. So what is that? Every 4 years. So one group of 4 has an extra day, and another group of 4 has an extra day. So we need to add 2 to our answer here, because there's going to be 2 extra days in 8 years. So my final answer is 2,922 days. So if you're 8 years old, that's how long you've been alive. Now, number 14. There are 1,250 seeds in each packet. There are 5 packages. How many seeds are there in all? So we have a multiplication problem. We're making equal groups, so we're just going to multiply. So again, our ones place value is 0. Our tens place value, I add a 0 so I can start writing in the tens, is 25. Our hundreds place value, I add 2 zeros so I can start writing in the hundreds. 5 times 2 is 10. And our last one is the easiest one. We're in our thousands, so we put 3 zeros down. And 5 times 1 is 5. So now we can just add them up. 0, 5, 2, 6. So our answer is 6,250 seeds. We have 3 more problems. We're almost there, guys. A cat breeder has 6 Sphinx cats and 7 Persian kittens for sale. If all 13 kittens sell, how much will the breeder earn? Wow, who knew cats were so expensive? So let's start here. We have Persian cats, and we see right here there's 7. So that means we're going to multiply this by 7. 698 times 7. So let's begin. I'm going to try this one without the colors for you guys this time. So 7 times 6 is 56. Going to add a 0 so I can go in my tens place value now. So 7 times 9 is 63, since that's my tens place value. And my last one is multiplying by my hundreds place value. So we have 7 times 6 is 42. Now I can add those up. 6, 8, 8, 4. So the Persian, wow, that's a lot of money for Persian cats. 4,886. What do we need to do about these other ones though, these Sphinx? Well, it says that there's 6 Sphinx cats, so I need to multiply this by 6. So 775 times 6. So again, I'm going to try it without the colors for you guys. So my ones place value is 6 times 5 is 30. My tens place value, I put a 0 in, so I can start my tens place value. 6 times 7 is 42. My last one, I'm in my hundreds place value, so I add 2 zeros, and it's the same thing. 6 times 7 is 42. So now I can add them up. And now what I need to do? Well, I have these 2 different cats for sale, so I have to add them up together. So I need to add these two numbers and see what I get for the total amount I would make selling kittens. 6, 13, regroup the 5, 7 plus 8 is 5, regroup the 1, 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 4 is 9. So this is how much money I would make, $9,536. Off to number 16 now. Patricia creates a design using 163 tiles. She doubles the number of tiles to make a second design. Her third design uses 3 times as many tiles as the second design. How many tiles does Patricia use in her third design? Explain. So first, we have 3 groupings. We have 1, 2, and 3, because there's 3 designs. So let's just keep that in track. So my first one, there's 163. The next one is 163 times 2. So let's figure out what that is. So 163 times 2. So I'll put my colors back for you guys. That's a 6. My ones place, or my tens place, so I add a 0, and that's a 12. And my last one is the 100, so I add 2 zeros. And I multiply, and 6, 2, 2. So that second one, oh, Mr. Wimley made a mistake. That didn't, right at the end is 326. So actually I'm just going to erase that completely. 326. So the second one has 326. Now what does it say for this part? It says her third design uses 3 times as many as the second. So how many tiles do we use in the second design? Well, we use 326. So we need to use 3 times as many. So what do we have? We have 18. We have 60. And our last one, we have 900, 3 groups of 300. So she used in that last tile 978. Now let's head to our last one. Number 17. A charter boat holds 60 adults and 50 kids. How many people can go on 4 charter boat rides? What are 3 partial products that will be added? So we're looking for 3 partial products. So that means we should probably select 3 answers that can be added to find a number of people that can go on 4 boat rides. So, what do we need to do here? Any ideas? Well, first, they're telling us we need to add to find the number of people on each ride. So what would that be? Well, that's going to be 60 plus 50 is 110. So if you're stuck, remember, always use these over here. And now I need to figure out what are those 4 partial products. So that means we're multiplying it by 4, since we have 4 equal groups, 4 rides. So let's see what that would be, and let's see if any of our answers match. Well, my 1's place value is a 0. My 10's place value is a 40. And my last one is a 400. So what do we have here? Well, it looks like we have a 0, which I see right here. So we would check this one. We have a 40, which I see right here. And we have a 400, which I see right here. So those are our answers. Good job today on today's math.